Nothing on there.
What's that?
Nothing on there.
You just have to
My camera.
the truck up to the garage.
Lay down.
I'm loading my stuff up in my coolers, my water jugs, my book bag, my computers, some of the tools that I had from the toolbox. I knew I was going to have to do some pumping into rubbers today. That's why I was out so far.
Is this on continually
Yep.
recording?
Yep. Well,
It's not. Is it motion or is it?
event.
Okay, so it's motion.
Any motion event that happens, I get cars driving from this street, and this is him at 517.
I usually park out there on the side. I just want to get everything back in. Be easier, so lugging everything out there, all the tools that I had to bring in.
It's always weird to watch this. I could watch this 1,000 times, and it's like the first time I've watched it. I'm only doing this to get my mind off of the Kylie Rodney thing. I can't sleep. So I'm hoping my friends will come in and hang out with me for a little while, and I don't know. If he didn't do anything this morning, if he did not do any, you know how there are people on YouTube that say that he did not do anything, there's no evidence or whatever. Why is he so nervous looking at it? Why is he so nervous? Let's look at it like that. Why is he so nervous watching this if nothing bad is happening? If the people that are on YouTube claiming that he's an innocent man, then why is he so nervous watching this? Or is he just nervous because he's hoping that this is distracting whatever else is going on? Why is he so nervous? Logically, why is he nervous? Obviously because it's bad, right? But he knew this camera was there. See, this is what I do not understand. I will never understand, and why we are not asking more questions like this. Why did he do what he did in the front of his house when he knew there was a camera pointed in that direction? You remember how he told his neighbor that people were trying to break into his truck, so he asked his neighbor if he could park the truck in front of the neighbor's house to catch whoever was breaking into the freaking truck. Why? I don't mean to laugh, but I do not understand the logic in all of this. Was he hoping that the neighbor would move the camera over so then whatever he was doing in the front of his house, it wouldn't be caught because the neighbor had already moved the camera over to the street? You know what I mean? I don't understand the logic. I don't get it. I don't. Sorry.
My detective just showed up, so he'll probably want to talk to you. He'd probably, like I said, he might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there is any sort of action out there,
His camera.
Yeah, he asked him that, like in the Wisconsin interview, Cherokee, and how are you? His actions were so clear that he thought he was caught. He also asked the detective, "Didn't you see Bella and Sissy on the video?" He asked him that in the Wisconsin video, in the Wisconsin interview, and he asked him that in the Wisconsin video because it had already come out that someone saw a shadow in the front of the house. Otherwise, it
I would have got it.
Like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that, and I had parked my truck out here.
Hey, Miss Kelly, how are you? Thank you for being here. And get to sleep, woman. We love you.
Park right here.
Yeah. So I can see where someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver.
Yeah, he texted NK something about that would be absolutely ridiculous. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Princess Megan. Yes. This is around this time is when he was texting Miss NK. Oh, that's ridiculous. And Miss NK said something about lucky or freaking Lucky Charms or whatever the hell, whatever freak she was talking about, which is we know obviously is a lie. Like that does not make sense at all. when they weren't talking the entire day, and she's saying, hey, how about these Lucky Charms things? She wasn't at the store, right? She wasn't at the store at HEB, or sorry, your whatever local market you guys have in that state. She wasn't looking at the market. She was at work allegedly, right? If her story is real, like if she was really looking at Lucky Charms, she was not at a grocery store. She's supposed to be at work at this time. So unless she was what? Was she was just Googling random Lucky Charms? Doubtful. Doubtful. Correct. 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 Yep. So, but she's looking at Lucky Charms at her work computer, right?
over there.
Love you, Kelly.
It was just like,
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I
yeah,
would
if it would have been like right in that area, they should have picked. I mean,
And then he goes, if any action would have been caught, he's like, it would have been right in that area, that one little area that we see the people walking in and out of the garage, right? He's so specific. It would have been in that one little area, right?
stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that. And I had parked my truck
I
up
had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
See if
I could see where
anything
someone tried to jimmy with us. Probably had a screwdriver over there, and it was just like,
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I
yeah,
would
if it would have been like right in that area.
He knows it would have been right in that area. Yeah, never mind. He would have done some stupid stuff and made sure that his car was backed up enough into the garage to where if anything was seen, it would have been what? Let's say it together, everybody. Right in that area.
cars or anything left your house, I
Yeah,
would
if it would have been like right in that area, they should have picked. I mean,
Oh, it'll pick up anything.
I could see where someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver.
Oh, and notice that after he says it would have been right in that area, then neighbor Nate's like, actually, I would have caught anything going up and down this street, and that's when he freaking freaks out because he didn't know that. He didn't know that his car would pick up a car going for over here, over there, over there. No, Chris Watts just thought, oh, would have just been right in this area. Look how he's so confident, right? He's so confident. Whoopsies. All right, fast forwarded it.
Activity.
Parked my truck
I
up
had to
here.
park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
See if
I could see
anything
where
happened.
someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like,
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I
yeah,
would
if it would have been like right in that area, they should have picked. I mean,
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
you know where that tree there too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then he goes, even with that tree right there? Yeah, it eventually would have been picked up, says Nate. Chris Watts interjects. Yeah, it would have been caught in that area. And he even physically with his hand shows it. Oh, right here in this little spot, right? The one we all obsess over now on YouTube. And then Nate says, oh, car here, car here, car here. Chris Watts says, what? Even with that tree right there? Okay, never mind. I take back what I said. He knew what he was doing.
Should have picked. I mean,
Oh,
stuff like that. And I had parked my truck
I
up
had to
here.
park right here.
Yeah. So someone,
See if
I could see
anything
where
happened.
someone tried to jimmy with a flathead screwdriver over there, and it was just like,
But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I
yeah,
would
if it would have been like right in that area, they should have picked. I mean,
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
you know where that tree there too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And he goes, even with that tree right there? And then Nate goes, oh, yeah. And then right there in this moment, that's when Chris Watts is saying, holy fungus.
I'll show you. But if any action would have happened, any cars or anything left your house, I
Yeah,
would
if it would have been like right in that area, they should have picked. I mean,
Oh, it'll pick up anything coming down the street this way.
you know where that tree there too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Watch, I'll show you. There's nothing on here.
You see, that's why he freaks out. That's why he freaks out. He goes, oh, yeah, if anything would have been picked up, it would have been this little area. Nate goes, actually, I'm going to pick up cars going from here, from here, from here. Like, Jesus, he's like a whole compass using all of his arms over here saying north, south, east, west. I got you, bro. And then Chris Watts like, even with this tree right there? Oh, yeah. And then he turns around and he's like, holy moly, god dang, we've effed up. And then right after this, he goes like, well, what security do you have? It's like, okay, yeah, you guys, this was planned. This was not an accident. And that's why this whole argument that it was it happened in a rage. Hell no, it didn't, because you're over here talking about if something was caught, it would have been in this area. Oh, and you would have caught something even with this tree right there. That literally right there, that shows you that it was premeditated. It was planned out. These are the things that you were thinking about. It would have just picked up on this little spot. Oh, even with this tree right there. Shut the f up, dude. This guy planned it, and he knew where this camera was pointed. He was hoping that the tree would cover up whatever the heck was happening in the inside the truck. That's why you another reason for you guys to understand that this was planned. This was planned, and it was not planned Monday morning. It was planned the weekend. It was planned on the weekend. Okay, I'm sure we all know that already. I'm just preaching to the choir at this point.
Everybody watch that one. But like, you'll see this car.
What security system do you have?
Xfinity.
What security system do you have? He's like, damn, this is a good security system. It's like, yeah, bro, this isn't a Ring doorbell camera like you have. This is like a real security system. So you're not just gonna see the front of the house. You're gonna see everything.
Oh, you can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, look.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
That's cool.
Oh, look, you can see this car down the street. He's like, oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
He's next door.
There we go.
And then right after, he's like, you want me to leave? He's like, I'm caught. Like, someone saw my mistress driving over here. Like, the tree didn't cover up as much as I thought. Damn, this guy it's almost hilarious. This guy is hilarious.
I was talking about dispatcher. It'll be code 4.
I hope you feel better, Miss Kelly.
Yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and making this turn. So, and usually at night I pick up the cars going a U-turn. So, unless they...
And then right there, he's like, at night, I usually pick up cars doing the U-turn thing. And Chris Watson's like, oh, I didn't think his security system was that good. And so that's where he's freaking out. This is where he starts petting the dog. He's like, oh shit. Oh, good boy. He's like self-soothing at this point, obviously.
pulled right here, yeah, but I would have caught her walking out.
Oh, damn. This guy literally caught everything that happened. But I thought he was just going to catch what was happening in this little area. And anything behind the tree wouldn't have been caught. No, brother, it was. It was.
There's nothing on here. We've already watched that one. But like, you'll see this car.
What security system do you have?
Xfinity. Oh, you can see this car starting to drive down the street.
That one.
Oh, look.
See what I'm saying? It picks up all the way down there.
That's cool.
He's next door.
There we go.
He goes, that's cool. Is it cool, Chris? Is it cool? Is his security system cool? It's so cool, right? It's cool. He goes, that's cool. Yeah.
I was talking about dispatcher. It'll be code 4.
Yeah, we can pick up cars coming this way. I get anything coming this way and making this turn.
Cherokee asks, do you guys think NK had his baby? It was about born about 6 months after. If so, do you think he knew before the murder? I don't know if NK had a baby, but I know she wanted children. I know she wanted to have a beautiful life like he had built, as she says herself in her emails. I'm quoting her. I would like a beautiful life like you have built with your daughters and your wife. She did want that, but remember, he was taking condoms to her house early on because remember, NK was investigating expiration dates. Who Googles expiration dates on condoms? A crazy person. A crazy person that already knows that the wife is pregnant, and so she's wondering if it's her man's husband or not. You know, why would you Google? Anyway, I mean, we've already been through this discussion, right? Chris, the way he turns away sounded guilty. Of course, he tried to cover it up. His life makes me so. It does make me sick, but at this point, it's almost comical. But to answer you, Cherokee, do I think she had his baby? I honestly, it's as possible. I mean, both are possible. She could have had his child. She could have not had his child. At this point, how the freak do we know? This woman is basically Casper at this point. Nobody has seen her. There are no records of her. She could have had a child. If anything, I've gone through that thought process. I've seen some interviews. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to do it in this live, but I'm not even going to go there, period. However, it makes you wonder why Chris was so protective of her. Was it because she was with child and he didn't want to throw her under the bus because it was his child that she was carrying? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible. We're just like chatting, gossiping right now at this point. This is not like a fact night. This is more of like, let's look at this stuff and talk about it, because I'm not over here trying to be. I kind of just want to listen to you all, but yes, I've thought about that too, no doubt.
So, and usually at night I pick up the cars pulling a U-turn. So, unless they pulled right here,
Yeah.
but I would have caught her walking.
But what do you guys think in chat? Like, what do you guys think about what Cherokee said? I've thought that too, Cherokee. Honestly, to me, that makes a lot of sense. But we can't go on other channels and say it's a fact, because it's not. It's as much of a fact that she wasn't pregnant. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful. But like where you say that, here, it's fine. It's good. This is right now. This is a place where we can like say all that stuff. It's fine. But it is interesting. I will say it's interesting. And there's an interview with NK and her dad that we've seen where dad says the further along that something happens, and in my brain I was just like, the further along in the pregnancy or what? Like, what are you talking about? But I'm not going to go through that here right now.
Diesel.
You're good.
But yeah, I thought nothing.
Nothing for the rest of the day.
No, that's it.
She's pregnant as well.
How far along?
14, 15 weeks. That's why her friend said it was low blood sugar.
And see, I've got her friend leaving out here at 2 in the morning, I think. So, my camera. Did you go check if anything was missing around your house?
There wasn't nothing. It was like all the old blankies and about it. And then her winter was on the nightstand. Her phone was still there.
Okay, so she was pregnant as well as his mistress. I'm not saying that. I didn't say that. However, I don't think it's impossible. This is where I kind of had this situation where I thought that. I find it interesting how she hugs her body here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case, because the more it takes.
The more along. You know who uses the more along? Like, how long are you like? Am I just being weird right now? Am I just being weird? This is about the further along thing. Okay, I'll replay it. I'm just gonna put. I'm not. You know what? Someone. He said she was pregnant. No, he didn't. What do you mean? No, and I'm not gonna put it out there that she is pregnant. However, this is why I thought that, and I'm gonna show you why I thought that. And I'm not gonna leave this live up, but I'm gonna show you why I thought that at some point, because of this conversation.
The less shallow.
They're sleeping much at all.
Yeah, and been feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then
Or maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was pregnant with Jim's kid. Maybe Nicole Kissinger was pregnant with Jim. You don't know that. What are you talking about, Cherokee?
I think all of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah.
I see it right there. She's looking at him. I don't know. I'm looking too much into the body language. Maybe she's been feeling sick, not because of anything, whatever. And then dad says Jim. And I mean, I'm not going to be that person that's on the internet claiming this, because one of my really good friends said, be careful. You don't want to do that, because it's true. I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I want to have a place where I can say what I conspiracize, with and nobody come at me. Also, I'm going to make the shirt that says "Don't come at me."
All of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more.
I'm sorry, but right there he says we need to accelerate the case because the further along, and then he pauses, and then says more along. What if they want to close this case before people find out that Nicole Kissinger is pregnant? It doesn't have to be Chris Watts' baby. It could be Jim's baby. It could be whoever else's baby. It could be she could be pregnant with her ex-boyfriend's baby. That's not what's important. But maybe here Nicole Kissinger is pregnant. Period. Doesn't matter whose baby it is. But people are going to assume it's Chris Watts because she was having an affair with him. But maybe it wasn't Chris Watts. Maybe it was Jim's baby. Again, maybe it was the ex-boyfriend's baby. Maybe it was a one-night stand or an eHarmony date that she went on, had a one-night stand, and got pregnant. But I am not judging her. Like, I'm a woman. She's a woman. I'm not going to judge. I mean, women get pregnant. And you know what? Well, fine. It happens. At that point, respect that she's pregnant. Now, okay, she's pregnant. Let's respect it. There's a child there. That's all that matters at that point. The woman doesn't matter anymore. It's the baby, right? In my eyes. I'm not gonna hate Nicole Kissinger anymore. She's protecting a child that's in her. And so is dad. Grandpa. Hey, another grandpa, and hey Sarah. I'm sorry I didn't say that. But notice this interaction. I want you guys to listen to this one more time. Um this was always interesting to me, this part of the conversation where they talk about she's sick, and then dad says we need to accelerate this case before something the further along. Okay, just tell me, and I'm not insinuating this is Chris Watts' child. It could be anyone's child. It doesn't matter. What matters is that maybe here in this interview she is with child, and dad is saying we need to accelerate this case and close it. Look, just check it out, just please. And also, and Nicole Kissinger does not have to disclose to detectives that she's pregnant. There are privacy laws when it comes to medical and health issues, and she doesn't have to tell detectives I'm pregnant. She doesn't. She doesn't have to tell anybody. She can say to detectives she's pregnant, but the detectives have no right to put that out into the world either. She can tell them that in private. And so it's their job to keep that private, right? There are laws. So she could have told them, hey, I'm pregnant, but I don't want you guys to tell anybody that I'm pregnant. And you guys cannot say who I'm pregnant with either, right? But look at and listen to what dad says. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
I think all of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less.
And also, he look at his left hand. He has his left hand by his stomach, and he goes like this. I'm gonna rewind it. But everybody that's here, all 8 of us, just listen. Just listen to this.
Sick prior to this.
Jim,
what we're after.
Thank you.
That's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming
Jim,
back
you're
up.
feeling good. Not because of any, just
Like, I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
I think here she's using sick interchangeably with pregnant. With everything that's been happening, and then I'm sick. And the detectives know that. That's why when she says, I'm hungry. That's why detectives are being so nice to her. Oh, you should have told me I had some food in the car. Like, at that point, now it makes sense why they're so nice to her, because maybe, maybe she is with child. Maybe that would be the spin on this. You know?
not because of any, just
Like, I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening.
I got sick prior to this whole thing happening. So what, on Sunday? Is that when you told Chris Watts that you were pregnant? Doesn't have to be Chris Watts' baby, but I got sick prior to this whole thing happening.
And then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Do you think that she found out she was pregnant prior to all this happening, which is maybe that Sunday or Saturday? Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations.
The longer this takes, the less sure they are of situations. And look at this man's hand. Look at this. Look.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations.
What do you get from that? What do you guys get from that? Tell me. I'm judging, and in my opinion, she saw the ultrasound at the Watts house, and that's why Chris Watts had to talk her down. Sarah says maybe the 111 phone call was about her telling him she was knocked up and he had to choose. Yeah, and I'm not here assuming that it was Chris Watts' baby either. Okay, it could have been Jim's. It could have been anybody else's. I have been sick prior to all this. I think she knew. In my opinion, it's a long call to have no details given. Both CW and Mistress is formally known. Yeah. Hey, Utter. Translation, my opinion, the more they know, the less likely she will escape. But look, it's because he says the further along. I feel like the only time I hear that type of verbiage is when they're talking about pregnant people. How far along are you? You know? Look.
Do you understand the question?
Just listen to this. Just listen to this with the theory that I have brought to you.
Questions there? Do you have questions about any of the things that it says? You understand you don't have to do this. You're doing it of your own free will. And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too,
He will. Thank you.
that's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming
Jim,
back
you're
up.
feeling good. Not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if we
There we go. Sorry, I was right there. So what do you think about that? What do you think about all that? Tell me. Tell me with the new theory that I have given to you guys.
At all.
Look,
All of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact
she said that she was feeling sick prior to all of this. The weekend before Shanann came home. What do you need? Like 2 weeks before you get pregnant? 2 weeks before that? Where were they? The sand dunes? I mean, and I'm not saying it's Chris's baby. Please don't, please just, I'm trying really hard not to say what I actually think, but I want to at the same time because I don't know, YouTube is hard. And you know what? This is a play. Right now, I'm just like telling my friends what I think, okay? I am not a big channel that has all the answers, but this is interesting me. I never understood this part of the interview. Jody, I think my new theory is that I think that Nicole Kessinger was pregnant here. And that's why dad, because I always questioned, why does dad say we need to accelerate the case? And then he says something about the further along. To me, in my brain, like barely does stupid aura. What, who uses that kind of language? How far along are you when someone's pregnant? And then he says, uh we need to accelerate this case because the further along, and then he stops himself because there's something that is not supposed to be said. You know, Nicole Kessinger doesn't have to answer to the public and tell everybody she's pregnant. There are health laws that prevent and protect her. But
I'm
listen to
sick.
it.
That's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
And then here, and now it makes sense why the detectives were so nice to her. She goes, "I'm so hungry," and the detectives are like, "You should have told me I had food in my car." Of course, they're gonna be nice to her. Like, because they know she's pregnant, right? Because we're always like, man, they were so nice to her. Why did they treat her like this? Why were they hard on her? Because, I mean, they had some sympathy for she was pregnant, maybe. Because I always thought that was weird too. It's like these little things that are weird. But you know what? It's the little things that tell you a lot. Why are they over here saying, "Oh, you should have told me I had food in the car"? Why the freak are they so nice to her? Maybe because they're like, she's a pregnant lady and they're just nice because these are men that are being nice.
It's not staying down. It's just coming
she hadn't
back
been
up.
feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if you do just that only,
You tell me what you're willing to provide
is
to
that,
me, and we'll
is
write
that
it
good
on.
enough?
I just want like our text conversation and then I guess our phone call records.
So I'm gonna put,
So the time and date of the phone call records and then our text message.
could we get photos of him?
Huh?
Could we get photos of him?
It takes about 5 weeks. Morning sickness starts around 5 weeks. And just isn't in the morning. It could be morning, noon, or night, or nonstop. I mean, how long was their relationship? 6 weeks? So let's say they started sleeping together before Shanann and Chris went to San Diego. Could it be possible that Nicole Kissinger was already like hibernating some baby, and then found out she was pregnant that in that week that Chris Watts came back from North Carolina? I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Utter? I really love that you guys are here, and Sarah, and you guys. It's just we're just talking here. I am not saying that this is like real or that she is pregnant, but what do you? Am I crazy for thinking that as I hear this? I'll play it again, and just tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm being ridiculous.
It's not good.
That's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just, you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming.
She hadn't been
down.
feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this.
Jim.
Why did it say she hasn't been feeling good? Not because of. Well, I haven't been feeling good prior, and then Dad says Jim.
The whole thing.
good.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming.
She hadn't been
down.
feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end,
No, I'm sorry, but the more we need to accelerate the case, and that's why I have the transcript right there. It says, yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more here it should be far along. He stops. The more it takes, the less sure they are of. What if Dad? You know who says they need to accelerate the case? Dad and Chris Watts. Chris Watts says, I don't want a trial. Chris Watts says, I don't want a trial because I don't want people going through a trial. You know who would be going through a trial? Maybe a pregnant Nicole Kissinger would be having to go through a trial. Yes or no? The only two people that want to accelerate the case are Nicole Kissinger's dad and Chris Watts. So, what is the common denominator between Chris Watts and Nicole Kissinger's dad? Nicole Kissinger. Because did Sandy Rusick or mom and dad Rusick want the case accelerated? No, they didn't. They wanted a trial. Did sorry, not Sandy Rusick. My names are getting all mixed up, but Cindy Watts and Ronnie Watts did not want to accelerate the case. They wanted trial. They wanted to be fought. Sandy Rusick and Daddy Rusick, I've never heard them trying to accelerate a case. If anything, I think they would have wanted a trial as well. The only two people that want this to be pushed quickly is Nicole Kissinger's dad and Chris Watts. I'm sorry, and Chris Watts. Tell me how that doesn't make sense. What article, Cherokee? You need to send that to me. Honestly, you need to send that to me. For real. Because look, I'll show you. This is where Chris Watts says he doesn't want a trial.
I never thought I'd be in prison the rest of my life. Like I don't want people to have to keep going through this every day of their lives, knowing that there's a trial hanging over their head, or I mean, if it ever got that far, I don't know. But like, I didn't want people to have to relive it every day.
What people? What people don't you want to have to relive it every day? But guys, please don't quote me and say that this is fact. It's not. I hope this is a place where I can just share with you what I think. Sarah says morning sickness starts around 5 weeks. Oh yes, I read that. You think so? Utter. I could be completely wrong. Please, someone should come up and talk with me. Chanel was gone 6 weeks, but they were hanging in the park with him before. In my opinion, he texts he will miss her sleeping. That's what I'm saying, Sarah. They were already sleeping in the bed together. It could be very possible. Very possible. Very common. It's not staying down. Very common. I've never been pregnant, so I don't know. Article I read said it was a boy born February 18th. She claimed it was by a guy named Chris, but you need to send me that article, Cherokee. Honestly, it's also if she's pregnant, the kid would be almost 4 now. Yes. Who do you think pregnant? I don't know. Oh, there's so much. I'm saying I think Nicole Cassandra was pregnant in this interview. And look what Chris Watts says, or listen.
Did they have to ever see the pictures? Say that again. Did they have to ever see the pictures? Frank and Sandy and all that?
No,
I never seen that.
they saw some things.
They didn't see anything bad.
Okay.
Yeah, we shielded that from them. That's what I just didn't want them to have to see anything or hear anybody talk about what any part of it.
Did you hear what he said? He said, I didn't want them to have to see anything or hear anybody talk about. Who else would talk about it? If it was just Chris Watts by himself committing this crime, who else would talk about anything?
Things.
They didn't see anything bad.
Okay.
Yeah, we shielded that from them. That's what I just didn't want them to have to see anything or hear anybody talk about what any part of it. Or like, anybody bashed their daughter, like anybody ruin, like, to hear what, some of my friends had a negative, impact on her, from her, or like had a description of her that they didn't match, something like that. I didn't want them to hear that either. Like, I didn't want them, like, anybody have to trash her memory. Like I wanted like them to know like she's loving life, she's beautiful, she always helped everybody else, all her friends, her Lucas friends, everybody. I just wanted I didn't want anybody to take away what she did.
We tried to get you to say that night. I know, but do you remember that?
I remember. I just like.
I know you obviously weren't ready to say that.
I know. It's like like after my dad left, we both came in like, all right, we got most of the story. Let's get to the true story. I'm just like, I just wanted to bang my head against the table.
But in the end, I think you did the right thing. And even though it's hard to hear, there's a lot of people who thank you for what you did.
Even though it's hard to hear, there are a lot of people that thank you for what you did.
I think your whole life has been thinking of others, except for one brief moment. I think you really did think of others when you made that choice. So I personally thank you, right?
What? Yes, Sarah. Sarah, Sarah, can you come up and like chat with me? Please. I feel like we share a brain.
It would have been hard for the three of us to go through, about this hard, and for everyone else about that hard, right?
It was anybody that was family or friends,
Right.
And it's exponentially harder for everybody.
Yeah.
Would have been hard for the three of us to go through about this. What? If this doesn't tell, I've listened to this and asked Daniel. I've literally fallen asleep to this interview 3 or 4 times a week. I will listen to this. NK's interview I've fallen asleep to. I listen to this such an unhealthy amount of times. Why are we and I watch a lot of YouTube videos too about people talking about the same stuff. But why are we not talking about these weird stuff that he is saying? And the weird stuff that Daddy Kessinger is saying, y'all. Are you not hearing this?
So you haven't told your parents what happened? You just told them I'm pleading guilty for a reason?
I've told them like on the phone, even because they're still.
You should fight it. You should get.
They've got letters from like Australia, from England. I mean, of like the 35C in Colorado.
They've gotten letters from Australia, from England. Gee, I wonder who is sending them these letters about a 35C.
So it's like improper counsel or something like that.
Ineffective counsel.
Ineffective counsel, and I mean some of the stuff they've they said about the dry patch, how it's not like FDA approved.
Oh, gee, I wonder who is sending the Watts parents information from England and Australia and telling them that the patch is not FDA approved. Do you think that maybe some YouTube creators were fish hooking this family that went through a tragedy for them to have content?
How it can alter somebody's mind, like there was some kind of condition, but there's something else they call like CPSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or something like that. Have been like some people from England have had it. It's like they've been in an emotionally abusive relationship and stuff like that. I mean, it's like some of those subjects they put in there, like I can relate to it, but like it doesn't make up for the fact what happened. But like they've got.
I do believe that a lot of YouTube people have trolled this family to create content. I'm just gonna stick that in there, but I'm gonna keep playing this.
A lot of support. They've got a lot of hate mail, a lot of phone calls, a lot of stuff like that. I wish they never happened. But they get some support, which is good. But on the phone, they still think there's a chance that I could get out.
The only people that are feeding him that there's a chance to get out, I think, are these YouTube people that need content.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to ever think your kid's going away forever. Like, you don't want to fathom that.
They tell me to fight it, like, they don't, not every day, but on their bad days, they'll get a bad message or a bad letter, and then they'll just revert back.
Is it more your mom or your dad?
My mom. She
Who talks to Sandy? I'm sorry, who talks to Cindy Watts a lot?
uses it a lot.
Yeah.
On the phone, my dad's usually trying to, like, hey, don't talk about this stuff on the phone with him.
Sarah, you need to come up.
Because it's just gonna rile you up, and it's gonna make him go back to his cell, and he's just gonna think about that all night.
Right.
And that's what happens a lot.
Yeah.
Would you ever want them to know what you're telling us today?
I'd rather just tell them myself.
Yeah.
So they're coming. I think they're gonna try to make a visit in like May or so.
So they don't. Do they still think that Shanann killed her brother?
They still believe that, even though I told them I'm plead guilty for a reason.
They still believe that. So the Watts parents believe that Shanann killed the kids. But Chris says they still believe that, even though I told them I pled guilty for a reason. To me, that doesn't sound like I pled guilty because I did it. You know what I mean? Don't you think that's interesting? Dear parent, what do you... Let me go back.
So,
Yeah.
said they're coming, I think they're gonna try to make a visit in like May or so.
So they don't know. Do they still think that?
You see how detective was like, so they don't know.
Said they're coming, I think they're gonna try to make a visit in like May or so.
So they don't know. Do they still think that Shanann killed the girls?
They still believe that, even though I told them I pled guilty for a reason, but they think that I was, their words like railroaded by,
Yeah.
because they, they felt like they pressured me to do it.
They feel like they pressured me to do it. I pled guilty for a reason. Not that I did it. If he did it, which I know he did. You guys know, if you guys have been my friends long enough, you guys know that I do believe that Chris Watts killed Shanann. Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I would bet my life on it, honestly, at this point. I do think that Chris Watts killed his wife. I think that he hated her. I think that killing her was the plan. I don't think that killing the children was the plan. I don't think he wanted to kill the children. I think the only other person that hated the children was Nicole Cassandra. In my opinion, and this is for entertainment purposes only, I am in no way trying to do this defamation thing on somebody. I think it was not Chris Watts that killed his own children. He doesn't have the balls to do that. I'm sorry, he doesn't. Especially the way he did it. Chris Watts is such a coward that if he wanted to kill his children, he would do it in a way where his hands would not get dirty. He would like put them in something and explode, right? I have this theory about the explosion theory, which everybody makes fun of me for, so I don't talk about it very much because for some reason the explosion theory seems super wild. The explosion theory is stupid. I know Daniel believes me about the explosion theory. It makes sense, I think. Anyway, so I don't talk about it, but I don't think Chris Watts is that much of a man to kill his own children with his bare hands. Nope, I do not. I do think he's going to do that to his wife, though, but not his children. You believe he killed all of them, Jody? I hear you. And I respect that, absolutely. Absolutely. Sarah says I translate that into make sure to destroy anything that connects her to the crime. Yep. Jody, yes, Sarah. Such a weird choice of words. Really just wanted it all to go away, not even leave dust particles. He just hasn't gotten the balls to say it out loud. True. I think the children saw her. What do you mean, like that night? If his children see him undead, Shanann, he would think he had no choice. I think if the children, you remember how NK says that I think they saw something? I think she was there, and she told Chris, they have to go too. Because they saw us. Undead is a better word. Utter. They saw NK, yeah. Yeah, I think NK was there that night, to be honest.
And
Do you feel like that? No.
they asked me plenty of times. This is like, they wanted to fight. Like if I said fight, they would have just,
On their gloves.
just went in there and did it. I was like, no, I can't have you do that.
Oh, you meant unalive. I said undead, right? The other nut was said something about unalive. And I said undead. But I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. I think she was at the Super King for the Fire Stick exchange, just my opinion from the selfie she took with the orange mustache in the back. What selfie, Sarah? What selfie are you talking about? You have all these facts, Sarah, but you're not sending them to me. I want to see it.
So, Chris, you care about others deeply. I can tell. You worry about others.
I'm gonna ask you right now, what keyword do you guys want me to search in this interview? What do you want me to search in this interview that you want to hear? And yes, I'm sorry, but I can literally look it up. So, okay, tell me, this is the interview, this is the Wisconsin interview. What do you want me to search here? Or do you want me to go back to the Nicole Kessinger interview and show you again why I think that she was maybe pregnant? I wonder how long Super King keeps it in their parking lot surveillance, the one she texted him in her car. Sarah, you need to send me this, okay? Because I don't know what you're talking about. Thinking music, please, says Jody. But, okay. And didn't Troy say he parked at the Super King by an orange Mustang? He did say that. But in this Wisconsin interview, is there anything that you guys wanted to tell me about your pregnant theory with NK? Look, okay, I'll go back to that. Look. Because listen to what Dad says about the further along that it's about him talking about accelerating the case and the further along. And NK talks about being sick, and look how she's hugging her body.
She hadn't been feeling good, not because of any, just
Like, I got sick prior to
Jim.
this whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if we
Because I've always wondered why he says that. The further along, and then he corrects himself. It's something he says we need to accelerate the case because the further along, and his left hand is actually touching his stomach, out like if someone's pregnant. And I was just saying, it just sounds like whenever someone's talking about being pregnant, how far along are you? I really don't hear that term far along, further along being used unless it's someone that's expecting. And I've always wondered why Dad is saying we need to accelerate the case. And Dad and Chris Watts are the only ones that didn't want a trial and wanted to accelerate the case. Yes, dude. That okay, look, I'm gonna play this again, and I'm gonna play in super slow motion. Watch. And brighten your screen if you have to. Watch.
we or that they are to exclude good, not because of any just
Like, I got sick prior. I think that I'm sick. It's just
The whole time that she's talking, his hands are not moving.
not good at all.
yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of.
You see that? The further along, the longer this takes, the less sure they are of what. And I was saying earlier, doesn't matter if she was pregnant with Chris Watts' kid or not. It could be Jim's. It could be a random guy that she met on eHarmony. That doesn't matter. She could be pregnant with Jim's kid. But if the case is still going and then Nicole Kessinger pops out to be pregnant, everyone's going to assume it's Chris Watts, even though it could not be. It could be somebody else's, right? No, they don't. He doesn't say further. I'm assuming that that's where it's going. He stops himself from saying further along. But I assume that's where he was going. Look, I'm gonna do it again, and I'm not gonna do it in slow motion because I don't have the patience for that. Okay, I'll do it at 0.75. Let's do that. You guys can watch this too on your own.
Situation.
And look at his hand motions, okay?
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations.
Okay, so he says the more along, the longer it takes, the less sure they are of certain situations. What is that? What do you guys think from that? If I give you the 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 option of maybe she's pregnant at the time, even if it's not with Chris Watt's child, it could be Jim's, it could be somebody she met at eHarmony. At that point, it doesn't matter. I'm not insinuating it's Chris Watt's child. However, I am theorizing that she is possibly pregnant here at this point, and that's why the chosen language that dad is using is what it is, because he says the far along, what does he say, whatever, and then then the then people are are less sure of certain situations, but he's not clear of what he's saying. To me, I think it's discussing pregnancy and whose child it is. And this is normal speed now.
I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if you do just that only.
And then, okay, he doesn't say further along, move it along. And then he's like, and the less we sure of certain situations. I don't know. Well, they were a lot of stars like rabbits, so possible she could have been. I'm not saying it's Chris Watts, though. Could have been somebody else's, but they didn't want it to be assumed it was his. I think he meant the longer the grand jury DA takes to gather and review the evidence, the more likely she gets charged. In my opinion, pregnancy would be a huge motive for both. Yes, and you're piling on more than that. I'm assuming. I just think that this woman is pregnant, and the further and if they don't close this case right away, everyone's going to assume that the child that she has is Chris Watts, but it could very well not be his. I mean, she was a free agent, she was, it was store open for whoever had shoes, shirts, and shorts service. But you see, but okay, but has anyone ever questioned this part of the interview? Yeah, motives. Has anyone questioned this part of the interviews? I've always wondered why he said that and how he speaks. And then they're talking about her being sick. And then it alludes to the further along, or sorry, not further along. I'm misspeaking. The more along, and then he's pointing to his stomach. I really believe that this woman is pregnant in this part of the interview. Sorry.
You tell me what the text messages and the phone log, and unfortunately, again, the attachments on some of those text messages, and I'll write it on there, and then you'll just sign it. Okay? Do you understand the questions there? Jeff, questions about any of the things that it says? You understand you don't have to do this. You're doing it of your own free will. And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too,
Yeah, thank you.
that's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down.
Exactly. How many people in a triple homicide investigation? Jody says it's possible. It is possible, I think. And guys, we're just sharing theories right now. This is a safe place. I'm not over here trying to spit out truths or trying to say that I have all the answers. But what do you think about this part? It's always bothered me. I never understood it. How many folks in a triple homicide investigation get offered food from the detective's car? Yes, because there's something going on with her medically, I feel like. And that's why I think dad is there. We've always asked ourselves, why is dad in these interviews? Because she's pregnant or there's a health situation happening. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, just she says sick, and I think she's using it synonymously with pregnant, but the detectives can't say it out loud that she's pregnant, and they have to respect her if she says, I don't want anyone to know. That's her right protection as a US citizen to not disclose that information.
She hadn't been feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening.
She got sick prior to all this happening. Like she had the flu? No. She was sick, quote unquote sick, before these murders happened. I think that means that she was pregnant. She found out she was pregnant before these murders happened. And she told Chris she was pregnant. I'm not saying it was his. It could have been Jim's. Again, it could have been anyone's. Remember, she was on eHarmony. Whatever.
And then I think all of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good.
And Lori, you are as right as I am. I just want you to know you are as correct as I am. Because I have no proof that she was. Just like you have as much proof that she wasn't pregnant that I have that she was pregnant. So I thank you for being here and stating your opinion. I respect you. I'm just giving my opinion, and it's a stupid opinion, I think, but I'm giving it from just analyzing this part of the interview, and I'm asking my friends. And she's looking at the camera as she is saying it. Right. A red, hot, flushed face can be a sign of pregnancy. I don't know. I mean, hey, Tammy, how are you? But in my opinion, if CW turned down the plea, she could have ended up in court while pregnant. If pregnant, hypothetically, in my opinion, Elizabeth Holmes keeps having babies to stay out of jail. You think so, Sarah? It's interesting. Think about who the only two people in this entire case that wanted the investigation to be shut down. NK's dad and Chris Watts. I didn't hear that she was pregnant. I'm coming up with that on my own as I speak through this. And if you want to rewind through this and listen to why I think that.
Not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the
And that's what bothers me. We need to accelerate the case. What case? If Nicole Kessinger had nothing to do with the murder of this quadruple homicide, why would Daddy Kessinger say we need to accelerate the case? Dad Kessinger says, we need to accelerate the case. Why would he say that? Hey, John, good to see you. John, tonight would be a really good time to actually get your brain to help me kind of process this. So I know what you're trying to do or whatever, and I'm here for it. But I literally have just these questions. I'm not actually here going against NK. I'm just wondering why Dad Kessinger is saying these things. So you're one of the smartest people I know. So I would really like your opinion. I heard you on AD, Tammy. Oh, good job, Tammy. Fast for cops evidence gathering means sloppy justice for society. Yeah, but Dad Kessinger is not a cop. Why would Dad Kessinger say we need to accelerate the case? Because the more along, and then Dad Kessinger moves his hand on his stomach. I think Nicole Kessinger is pregnant here. I think. It's just a theory. I could be stupid wrong. Right? But I'm just putting this out there because I'm sharing my opinion. But it's just weird how he says the more along. I don't know. I'll play it again.
The other end.
Like I got.
We'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming.
She hadn't been feeling good. Not because of any, just.
Like I got sick prior to
Jim.
this whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on
the longer it takes, the more along, the less they are certain of certain situations. Maybe he's saying we need to cut this case. We need to end this soon because my daughter is pregnant and is probably not Chris Watts' child. But he's afraid that when the world finds out she's pregnant, they're going to assume it's Chris Watts' child. And he doesn't want people to think that. And Kate was playing the field. She could very well be pregnant with Jim's kid or someone she met on eHarmony. I'm not judging her. I'm saying this was Dad protecting her and saying, we need to end this case, and Nicole, give the cops everything they need to clear you from this situation, because you're with child, but we don't need people thinking that it's Chris Watts' kid, because that's just going to make you look guilty, and you're not. If anything, I'm over here trying to make sense of why this interview was the way it was. If anything, this would prove her innocence, and it would make sense why she was being private and she was deleting a lot of things off her phone, and Dad was with her in every interview. No worries, Jody. Thank you for being here. If anything, if Nicole Kessinger was pregnant and it wasn't Chris Watts' kid, it would make sense why Dad was trying to protect her and wanting the case to go away, and Chris Watts wanting no trial to be had, because he already lost an entire family. He didn't want to ruin Nicole Kessinger and her baby. Doesn't necessarily mean it was his child. Could have been Jim's child. It could have been an eHarmony hookup. That's not important at this point. My objective here is trying to figure out why Dad was saying what he was saying to accelerate this case. Hey, Tammy.
Hey, sweetie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I have a comment in regards to her being maybe pregnant.
Go for it.
That's probably why, A, she wasn't put on a lie detector test, and B, she also said that she wanted to give Chris his firstborn son. So maybe she was pregnant and she knew what she was having, and that's why she made those statements. And that's why she wasn't given the detector test thingy.
And I'm not alluding that the child that she was pregnant with at the point was Chris Watts' kid.
Exactly. She liked
Because
to be
I'm not going to do that, because then we're judging her. Then we're just assuming too much of whose it was.
Exactly.
At this point,
Very
I'm just trying to assess how and why the conversation went as it did with her father. I mean, I'm going to trust this 60-year-old man that's there, because these parents, all they want to do is look out for their children.
exactly.
I trust parents more than I trust the children. Dad is only looking out for his child
Yeah.
and maybe a grandchild.
True.
And
And
so
that also
dad is going to be with her at every interview, because she has a medical condition, and also she does not have to disclose that to. She can disclose that to the detectives, but the detectives have a obligation to keep that private from the public.
that is very true. And that's also probably why she's in hiding, because there is a child and there would be speculation that is it Chris's, isn't it Chris's?
And that
And she
would
probably
put both her and the child in danger.
exactly.
And I'm not judging her at this point. I'm not doing this live as a place to judge her, because I think that's kind of like kind of a tired angle at this point. There's more to
True.
see in these interviews than just her and her lies. There's a reason for her and her lies. I think I really am now taking the angle of listening to her father.
Yep.
And Lori says NK being pregnant was rumors. It is rumors, and what I'm saying right now is kind of like a rumor. But right now, what I'm doing is showing you why I think that's possible, because I'm showing you the
Exactly.
receipts that I'm going through.
Exactly. And I think that you're taking a very good chance in doing this, because it wouldn't surprise me at all.
And I don't think that NK being pregnant is bad, because who thinks that a child being born is bad? Every child is a miracle, and I'm not assuming that it's Chris Watt's child. However, I do believe that it is possible that NK was pregnant here, and that's why Dad was involved in every interview. And what he says here is kind of alludes to that it is possible
Exactly.
that she is. I mean, think about it. I mean, Tammy, are you okay with me playing it one more time and
Yeah, go for it. It's your channel. Do what you need to do, though. I'm just here to support you.
check it out? She says sick. I think it's using it as pregnant. What did I say? As a not hyperbole, but it's
Oh, what's the word you used? I can't remember.
On the other hand,
Hypothetical?
like it's no, like I just said it earlier. I was sounding super smart earlier because I said like the S word, like in synonymously, or
Mm.
anyway, whatever. Yes.
And I know you're tired. So
And then when Dad says we need to move it along, look at his hand. He doesn't move his hands a lot, but then when he talks about moving it along, he uses his hands in his stomach. And I don't know if that matters or not, but people over here spend hours talking about how NK uses her hands to touch her neck, and that means that she strangled Shanann or knows what happened to Shanann. So if people are allowed to come up on here and analyze hands and eyes, then I think it's okay for me to look at Dad and what he uses with his hands when he talks about moving the case along, because the further something, look, check it
I'm
out.
gonna let your dad read it too.
He will. Thank you.
That's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
And also, Tammy, we were talking about how it was so strange that why were they so concerned with her? Oh, you're so hungry. Well, I had food in the car. You should have told me, because they knew maybe she was pregnant. I mean, aren't like people kind of more sympathetic to?
Yeah, exactly. They're more like baby talking to her and like talking to her as though she's not, how can I put it? I don't want to judge her, I judge her enough on my own. But I see it as by saying, "Oh, I would have got you something out of the car." Wasn't this a real hot August for him? So I don't know about you, but I personally wouldn't want something that's been sitting in someone's car.
No, but I think he was
But
talking about on his way to the interview, he grabbed some food to go.
oh yeah, but still, what I'm saying is that I would want something. I would have said, "Oh well, you know, why didn't you say, oh, that sounds great, but what is it?" She just straight away shut it down. You know, like no.
So check it out.
It's not staying down. It's just coming.
She hadn't been feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this whole thing.
And then as I got sick prior to this whole thing, I'm thinking before the murders, right? So, you know, I think at some point around the time in that weekend before the murders happened, she told Chris, "I'm pregnant." Doesn't mean it has to be his, but and maybe that what was a fire to things happening. But hold on, keep listening. She keeps saying sick synonymously. That's the word, synonymously with pregnant, I think.
Happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
And during this whole time, look how she hugs herself.
Yeah, and another thing as well is that she was very. I know, obviously, the girls and Shanann, knowing what happened to them, she got very emotional, but she didn't shed one bit of emotion when she was in the park and she was talking to them. She showed no emotion there, but as was showed here, she shows more emotion. So I think that her hormones are playing with her head.
Yeah, check it out.
Mm.
Here, look at Dad's hands, and then look what he says. The more along, we need to push this more along. And I think that the only time I've heard words like more along, I connect them with further along or how far along are you in pregnancy. Like that's where just my mind goes. So check it out.
Same.
Yeah, I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if you do just that only,
You tell me what
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very bizarre that he does that. And I'm looking real close, and it's like, his body language is a bit sus. And that's probably also why Chris said he was guilty of all of it as well, because like again, hypothetically, if she was pregnant, he wanted to protect her, and he didn't want a child of his probably born in jail. So he was protecting her just because you know he probably thought it was his.
No,
If she was.
I think that she was pregnant, but it didn't matter if it was Chris Watts or not. I feel like if the public saw that she was pregnant, they would just automatically assume is Watts' kid.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yep. Sorry.
And it could not, and I'm not saying it's Chris Watts. Maybe it wasn't. Like we've learned from NK, she wasn't serious about Chris Watts. If anything, at this point, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I'm actually on NK side right now. Just because I don't think she was just sleeping with Chris Watts. I think she was probably sleeping with Jim and whoever she went on eHarmony dates with, which is fine.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Whatever. If anything, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Right now, I'm on her side. So she's probably pregnant here, probably not Chris Watts, and Dad wants this case to be cut quick because the more along people aren't sure of situations.
That strikes me as odd because at the end of the day, when you think about it, at this present moment, Chris is being arrested or Chris is being questioned, and they've already got their suspicions about Chris. So what situations is he referring to?
Exactly.
So that's very, very, very odd.
So that tells me that he doesn't want his daughter to be seen as a suspect, because if people find out she's pregnant, then they're going to assume that the family died because she was pregnant and Chris did it because the mistress was pregnant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then it would just bring this whole legal trouble to NK that is probably not real. That's not true.
do you think that if she was pregnant, like I said, I do have that theory in the back of my mind, thinking that's, like I said before, that's why she said she wanted to give him his firstborn son, because, you know, she was more along than, say, Shanann. And by the fact the father's touching the stomach a lot, like if she's not fit, like if my brother's not feeling well, my brother's not feeling well, I don't go and go, my brother's not feeling well, and then put my hand on my stomach. Or if my sister was not feeling well, I'm not going to put my hand on my stomach to symbolize, you know, because that just is like, go, is she pregnant? No. But it's very, very weird. Of all things to touch, why did you touch your stomach, Mr. Kessinger? And he should have had a body analyzer in this. While
Check
they're
it out.
interviewing him.
And again, I'm really trying to be careful here about how I say things.
Yep.
But
well, for what it's worth, I admire the fact that you go into it in a different, when you talk about this case and when you've talked about the Kylie case and any other case you've touched, and I've said this to a few people, I admire the fact that you go to, say, where people would turn right, you would take a right but then a sharp left, you know what I mean? You don't just stay on what everybody else is talking about. You go in a different direction with cases, and that's what I love and adore most about you. You're awesome.
Well, this case is not a you remember those coloring books that
Yep.
are there are already the pictures are already there. You just color in the lines.
Oh, yep, like color by number or something.
Or it's just like here's the picture, and then just color. Make sure you don't go outside the lines. It's like a lot of people see this case as this coloring book where the picture is already drawn for you, and it's your choice to color each part of the picture whatever color you want, but the shape's already drawn there for you. And I like to look at these things, it's like the paper's blank, and I'm going to make my own shape and color it the way that I want, because there is no right or wrong answer here.
Exactly right. And that's why I love tuning into you when you're live, is because you do that. You go outside the box where everyone will color inside the box. You go outside the box and venture in different ways. And like, that's why when you'd be on my panel, I absolutely loved it, because you'd go in different directions of things and you wouldn't be going with the narrative like everybody else does. And that's why I admire you. You're awesome.
I don't understand the narrative. Really, I don't know, but I for a long time I never considered that NK would be pregnant, but then it just never made sense why Dad would say what he did.
And why Dad was there. She could have had, apart from being pregnant, she could have had an underlying health issue that, you know, could have, affected her.
No one can ever answer me why was Dad there at the interview.
Exactly. Well, I can understand why Nicole was there with her son, because he was a minor. But Kessinger's not a minor.
Well, but still at the same point, and then you're listening to the interview, and then some things make sense, but then when you're listening to the interview, if you're listening to this interview, and this goes for anybody that's listening, listen to those interviews, and when something makes you go, what? Stop it right there, and then go through everything else, and if it doesn't make sense, there's something more there. So when Dad says we need to accelerate this case, why do you need to accelerate the case? Why?
And
it's already been solved, right? Chris did it, so then why accelerate it?
Exactly. Sorry. And when he says, no, that's okay, don't be sorry, it's your channel.
I'm
yelling. And when he says we, that's you yelling. Whoa, you're tame. When he goes, we need to accelerate it. Well, for starters, dude, you shouldn't even be there. Second of all, they're interviewing your daughter. So when you say we need to accelerate it, who is the we you're referring to? Shouldn't he be saying, well, you guys here need to accelerate it? We, implying that he is part of the law enforcement team.
Oh, shit.
That's something that was always stumped me.
Sarah's right. There was a Venmo from him that said pillow talk. What if Nicole Kessinger was pregnant with Jim?
There you go.
What if it was Jim's baby? And what if, and now let's go, we're just going into drama, like, soap opera shit. What if NK told Chris, like, hey, I'm pregnant, but it was Jim's?
and she wanted to try and palm it off as his own, so
Or
palm it off as
not.
Chris's, so then Chris would leave Shanann.
No, let's say she didn't. Let's say she said, I want to leave you so I can have this baby with Jim, because remember NK said, I want to build a beautiful life like you have done with your girls and your wife. Maybe she was trying to do that with Jim, but maybe she was fighting with Jim. So Chris Watts was her her rebound.
Maybe.
And then
Could be
NK
that.
told Chris, hey, I'm pregnant with Jim. I don't want to see you anymore. Anyway, your wife's coming back home. And Chris, that's when Chris snapped.
True, because don't forget in interviews his mum always said Chris was I think she said he was he never got into fights. He was always a good kid in school. Yep, never got into fights, never did anything wrong and all that sort of crap. So maybe, like you said, that's probably what made Chris snap, because I don't think Chris would just snap and kill his entire family without there having to be an underlining issue apart from, like, I admit, I've looked at Nicole Kessinger as though she's a dog. I admit that. But the thing is, though, is that how do we know what you just said then? How do we know she wasn't pregnant to Jim, if she was? And because Chris was so angry because of the fact that she had previously said, oh, I want to give you your firstborn son. She comes to him and says she's pregnant. He's all happy. And then she goes, oh, but it's not yours. And then Chris lost his shit. I just also find it interesting. She hadn't been well for a few days, but she went out for dinner with him on Saturday.
Well, and then, oh yeah, she wasn't well for a few days, but she decided, I don't want this lazy dog. I want the other one.
Exactly. Are they the same menu?
But she was sick. Well, not even, let's forget about the menu thing. I think those are details that really don't matter. But remember, she says, I've been feeling sick before all this happened. So if you've been feeling sick, then why are you saying, I don't want this lazy dog, I want the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Are you eating? There's something else going on here. And actually, I know I've been on this NK hate train, and I kind of want to get off of it, because if you're on this NK hate train, then you're just putting yourself in a box and not seeing the other things that could be possible.
Exactly.
And maybe NK, yeah, she did a lot of things wrong, but maybe she was trying to separate herself from Chris, because she did want to build a family with someone, and Jim had a key to her house. I mean, come
and
on.
Chris didn't. And why wouldn't Chris have a key? Because she said that was his safe. That was his what? His safe place or something, or her
That was
safe place.
her safe place.
Oh, okay. Then swipe that. But considering if she was only sleeping with Chris, like I'll be honest with you, there was a guy that I was fooling around with, and far out, he had a key to my house. No one else did. But what I'm getting at is that that's someone the only person I was fooling around with. But the thing is, though, if she was only with Chris, why wasn't Chris allowed to have a key?
Well, okay.
You know what I mean?
And Sarah, remember, witnesses are not allowed influence. She says witnesses are not allowed outside influencing unless there's legal standing. I mean, think about how everyone else was interrogated. It was Nicole Atkinson. She was there with her son. They were together the entire time. Ronnie Watts was by himself. The Ruseks, we don't know. Actually, I think it's also interesting how that has not been released. But everyone else was interviewed separately except for Nicole Kessinger and her dad, and Nicole Atkinson and her son. Yeah. And those are the people closest to the case. That tells you something.
I'm starting to think that the two Nicoles probably knew each other.
I mean, whether or not, but think about that. So hold on. Sarah said, I love Sarah too. I wish she would come up with us. If one was under a mental health guardianship, aka the Britney situation, then they would be allowed to have their legal guardian present for their witness statements. Yes, but it doesn't mean that. We need to look that up. I guess it's like if Nicole Kessinger was pregnant, then she would be allowed to have someone there with her because she had some sort of medical condition.
Yeah.
And why did they wear condoms? He took them to her place. Yeah, he wore condoms to her place, but that was after they started having sex. So I think that condom thing is also very weird. I think the comment about her wearing condoms was to prove to the detectives that they were safe all the time. And that's like overcompensating for the fact that they weren't. I always
Yeah,
say the truth are in the lies.
Yeah, and why did she have to? And obviously, the thing is as well. I think she might have been pregnant as well because of the fact that with me, like if I was, like I always made sure that I had them here so I knew the expiry date. But why did she make it a point to say I was checking for the expiry date? Like, why would if you're fooling around with a guy and you actually, anytime you're intimate with a guy, there's a intimate of trust there. So
Yeah.
you'd want to trust that. So the thing that for her pointing out the expiry date, saying, "Oh, I checked for the expiry date," was that because at that time she already was pregnant with Jim, or she was sleeping with other people? And I don't know.
Right.
It's just
And pregnancy is not a mental health issue, but bipolar is. And that's something that Chris Watts said that she had. Yes or no? Look,
exactly.
check it right here.
More, what would you say to those people?
She had her moments where I had to talk her like off a ledge kind of deal.
What does that mean?
Like, I guess after the fact, there was like videos of her that she was like recording herself because she's like bipolar or something. I never do that, but it's like, and she would get worked up about nothing. She would just like, she came to my house once because of
and he's talking about NK here. He's saying she would get worked out about nothing. Listen to it again.
like videos of her that she was like recording her
more. What would you say to those people?
She had her moments where I had to talk her like off a ledge kind of deal.
What does that mean?
Like, I guess after the fact, there was like videos of her that she was like recording herself because she's like bipolar or something. I never do that, but it's like, and she would get worked up about nothing. She would just like, she came to my house once because I think it was like July 4th. I didn't have to work that day, so I didn't like get up at like 4 o'clock and go home. And Shannon called me like 10 times in a row. And I didn't hear it because I was sleeping. I was just like, and she was pissed. Shannon was pissed. And like I called her outside, like, where are you at? Like, what? I was like, I didn't have to work today. It's like you called me at like 5:30. It's like she doesn't want to talk to you at 7:30. I'm like I was sleeping. She's like, screw you, like I don't know where you're at.
Right there, Shanann knew that Chris Watts was not at the house because otherwise she would have seen it. She would have had some vivid alerts from the garage. She knew that Chris Watts wasn't at the house because she didn't hear, or she did not get an alert from the garage because he goes down there to work out every morning, right?
Right. Would she get the Vivint alerts from that far away?
Yeah, it's an app.
Oh, okay.
Now I went back inside, something like, I gotta go. And she was just like, okay, are you coming back? I'm like, probably not.
So wait a minute, you kind of lost me there. Were you at Nikki's place when
Yeah.
Shanann called you?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you were sleeping in her bed.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to work that day because I didn't have to that day.
Okay.
The first holiday I ever had off. And, Shanann was pissed, and, kind of pissed Nikki off too that I left.
So basically, Chris Watts was going to Kessinger's house every night and then leaving Kessinger's house at 4 something in the morning. And he wasn't coming in through the front door or the garage. He was sneaking in through the basement doors because the basement windows, because his routine that Shanann knew was every morning he wakes up and works out in the basement. And so she's going to get Vivint alerts from the basement, the door basement. But she's also going to get Vivint alerts from the doorbell and the garage door opening. But to avoid Shanann getting Vivint alerts from him walking in and out of the house at 4 a.m., he was sneaking in through the basement windows and then working out. And then when he's done working out, opening the basement doors to get back upstairs.
Very weird.
No, that his way of going in and out of the house was the basement windows.
No, I'm just saying to go through a window. That's weird.
It's not weird. He didn't want his wife to know he was leaving the house.
I think that's when she I called Nikki later, and she was like, she kind of realized that, she'd always be like, the second. She said second fiddle. That's right. And because that's how I would come back that day. Just, I don't want to be anywhere else when Shan calls. She was already pissed. So it was stuff like that where she would she would go. She said she would go on like websites and look at like will a relationship work with somebody, like will a mistress work.
And so when he says that it was July 4th, and when instances like that would happen, she would go online and check, will it work with a mistress?
Mm.
Did you hear that?
No, can you play it again? Sorry.
I will play it again. But look,
Thank you.
I'm telling you guys, this all correlates because look, I'm gonna show you. Now you guys see how weird I am. I'm not ignoring the chat, y'all. But when do we have in the discovery that she's talking about mistress BS? I'll show you. Hold on. Cuz I'm not going to do this whole video BS. Cuz I'm lazy. Okay. Hold on. Mistress, when was this? It was in August, wasn't it? Like right before.
Think so. And one of the searches that she did when I found very strange is when she said about how man I'm seeing says he'll leave wife, but at that time, so she obviously knew that him and Shanann were still together.
Correct.
Because why would you look that up if he already told her that they were separated?
Correct.
Hello to anyone in chat who's saying hello to me. I'm not reading chat because I can't because my eyes are bad today. Sorry.
Hold on. Shit.
Oh, if you can't find it though, it's fine.
I need to.
I'll listen to this interview
Found
later.
it.
Found it? Cool.
Someone told me I was really good at finding things.
You definitely are.
Well,
So
right
here.
trying to do a relationship.
Right here.
She would go.
When she was upset, she would go to websites.
Second fiddle. That's right. And because that's how I would come back that day. Just, I don't want to be anywhere else when Shan calls. She was already pissed. So it was stuff like that where she would she would go. She said she would go on like websites and look at like will a relationship work with somebody, like will a mistress work? Will a mistress turn into a relationship?
That's what Nikki was looking at?
Yeah.
She would tell you that, or you heard that? Okay.
Yeah, she said that she would go on websites and look at stuff like that. I was like, why do you even look at stuff like that? She's like, I just want to see what other people have experienced.
But Mike, so that confuses me though, because I thought her.
Okay. So he said that when she got mad after July 4th, that she would go on websites and check what it, mistresses, whatever, right?
Yep.
Okay. So it was August the 8th when she said, August the 8th is the first time we see that in the discovery. August the 8th was also Shanann's ultrasound that he missed. He doesn't want, where he said, we are supposed to go to the ultrasound tonight, and he doesn't want the baby. He said he'd abort if I said it was okay. Shanann told Sarah, he said he's not having an affair. This is the day, by the way, that Nicole Kissinger is searching the mistress shit. I think Nicole was at his house the night before, like August 7th, August 8th, when he came back from North Carolina. I think she came to his house and snuck into the basement.
Yeah.
To spend the night with him. He said he's not having an affair. Sarah asked if Shanann is certain of this, and Shanann replied, honestly, no. But what else she's not sure, but what else would make him do a complete 360? Okay, so she's sure. And then this is where Watts made an unspecified modification to Shanann's contact information in his work phone on August the 8th. And we just heard Chris Watts say that whenever Nicole Kessinger blows her lid, she searches marrying your mistress or if it will work out. So the same day that he makes a modification to Shanann's contact on his work phone, 4 hours later, Kessinger searches Google on topics related to marrying your mistress.
That's yeah. Why would he need to do that?
Here we go. Let me read the comments. I feel so behind. Thank you guys for hanging. Hochi, I'm sorry I didn't get to say hi. I feel so sorry for Nicole Atkinson. No one would leave her alone, even. Yeah, for real, Lori. Absolutely. Pregnancy is not a mental health issue. Okay, I saw that. It's absolutely disgusting. People would actually phone her on this case. Wrong. Yeah. Yes, Lori. Jody. And she said, she said, screw you. She knew. Yes. One Aussie guy is still making up disgusting lies. John. Hey, John. Cheers. No, not at all. CW went to the gym. I don't think so. A lot of good all my friends are here. Love you all. I don't know why anyone gets a problem with NA. I was so happy she responded. I don't think she would. Sending NA message of support is beautiful. I think people contacting NA like strangers is weird. Period.
Oh, well, I'm one of those strangers. I contacted her to let her know that people this is going back a fair while back now. I messaged her because I'm friends with her on Facebook. And I messaged her, and first of all, I talked to her about Thrive. And then when I was on a few channels, I saw that people were saying that she was in the house and stuff. And I thought, well, if she's doing any kind of platform thing on Thrive on YouTube or anything about her personal life since, with the cancer and stuff, on YouTube, I wanted her to be aware that there are people out there that are saying she was in the house. And she goes, if I was in the house, they would have found my fingerprints. And I still have those text messages from her saying that. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, they never really dusted anything for fingerprints, love. But, lots of things that she's come out with. Like, I feel sorry for the fact that people are like calling her a hero. And then in the next breath they're saying, oh, but she was there. She put the purse on the counter. She did this, she did that.
I think it's sad that people are pushing unrealistic expectations on this person that was just living her life and just trying to do what Nicole Atkinson, because it's like Nicole Atkinson wasn't living her life trying to be Shanann's protector. Nicole Atkinson was just living her life trying to make her life better. And that's it.
Exactly.
But people put these unrealistic expectations on her that, oh, well, she's an angel because she solved this crime. Like, yes, but then when you put her on this pedestal, then any mistake that she made will knock her off that pedestal right away. And I feel bad for her because she's so overanalyzed as like she's a hero or she's not. And if she's not a hero, then she's a villain. She's not allowed to be in between.
Exactly. That's what upsets me about it.
Or just like a normal person. Like, she was just a normal person. She had business to do with Shanann. Like, she did the previous day and the next day. And she was just checking in because she had to follow up. Because Shanann was very good about following up with her business associates. And then Nicole Atkinson just was, she called the police and it wasn't even her that decided something bad was happening. It was Cassie that told her to call. But now Nicole Atkinson is put in this firing range that she wasn't really trying to be in. She was just trying to like do her daily thing with Shanann. And either now she's a hero or a villain, and I think that's unfair.
Exactly. I think
sorry.
I was just going to say, like, for her to do what she did and to be able to draw attention to the fact that, she was missing. Whereas, she contacted Chris before she even contacted the police and saying, look, have you heard from Shanann? And she's even stated that Shanann would be on the phone to people after every time they would go somewhere for Thrive. She would be on the phone the next day, you know, like you said, following up with everybody. And the fact that Shanann hadn't, it had, you know, it concerned her. And Cassie got concerned too. But, you know, Cassie didn't call the police. Atkinson did. So many Nicoles in this case.
Laura
And
says, Tammy, you did that for AD. I didn't see you on AD, so I don't know what Lori's talking about. Why
I
doesn't
did what
Nate
I did.
have video of NA reversing to the? Yeah, I think that's interesting too, Sarah.
Yeah, I was talking about how when the day of the welfare check, when Chris is demonstrating where the doorbell camera starts to pick up people from, and he's standing at the bottom of the steps of the veranda or the porch, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And he's standing right there at the bottom of the steps. But yet the footage of Shanann coming home that morning, she's further down the driveway. And even as she's walking in, the doorbell camera footage is still picking up Atkinson reversing and leaving. And I've always found that very, very strange how Chris got where the camera picks up from wrong. Because he says it's...
And I think the collection of video from Nate's camera is just what they wanted, or what they thought would be relevant to a criminal case against Chris Watts. Now, but again, if think about how quick this was shut down. So if this was going to turn into if this was going to turn into a trial, they would have probably presented this video footage of everything, but they didn't. So they just put out what they could.
Yeah, I think they've also redacted too much from the discovery, more than, you know, like
from Nate,
especially Nate. I don't think that footage of Shanann arriving home, I'm sorry if I'm going to be ridiculed for this, but I don't believe that footage of her coming home that morning, I don't think it's from that day.
I honestly
don't believe it is.
I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
But I disagree with you, but I respect it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because then at that point, there's like a huge, bigger problem. At that point, you know,
the reason because the reason I don't think it is from that morning is because you don't see on Nate's camera Shanann walking up to the door.
But he just didn't release that, or there was a reason why they didn't release it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
True.
That literally doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Just like how when Shanann was picked up to go to the airport to Arizona, we don't see that video either, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true.
Where's the video from Nate and Dean Sun Survivor? Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It obviously does exist because they're there, right? They're there that day. So they're there. So there's video of it on Nate's camera. We just don't see it, but I mean, we see evidence that they are there, right? So just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not real. So you just have to be kind of just think like that. Thank you, Otto. Thank you for saying that about NA. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm done trying to assume that anybody did anything wrong because we don't know anything. I think I'm learning that it's better to just listen and watch what we do have and critically think with that.
Yep.
Instead of just making
because at the end of the day,
I'm gonna make shit up but from what I see.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I try and do.
And
well, we can think
we know wrong by standing on the car,
through, but we don't.
I don't think so either. I don't think he did anything wrong with that. Absolutely not. And no video proof he ever did that. Where's the video of NA's car reversing? Yeah, and there's no video proof of Nicole Kessinger going into the house, but she says she did. She says she went in through the front door and the garage, and we have no video evidence of that either.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean it's not true.
I reckon definitely she was there more than twice, because Chris is saying in this interview she went to his house once, yet she said she went twice.
Nate had the hots for NA or just loved a good gossip and was the go-to house that morning she had child. I think that there was possibly some conversation when Shanann was out of town between Nate and Nicole Atkinson about keeping an eye on the house, but primarily because of the children. Because Shanann was having some issues with trusting her husband and the new pregnancy, and she was sharing that with everybody in the world except for the Lindstorms and the Thayers, right? They were
Yeah.
Chris's friends. So I think it's normal. Like if I think if I told my friend like I'm scared for my life, or something's going on with Chris, I think someone like NA or someone like, because I've had that happen where friends just check up on, drive by, or if I say, hey, go check up on this, and they'll do it. I think there was some sort of agreement between the neighbor, and I think that's why when the cops were called and the cops were there in the body cam, you only see Nate outside because he already knew that something was going on, because probably NA gave him the heads up.
Doesn't surprise me.
He's like, what's going on? Like, he was real about it, and he was already checking his camera because he was already, al alba. Like, he was already, I don't know how to say al alba, like, aware. Timelines of statements is a homicide, requires evidence for proof. It's true. That's why there was no trial. The only proof we have is just our own personal evaluation of what we see. That totally was from the day, Tammy. It's all in evidence. Hey, Nancy.
Okay.
Where's your video from Denver International Airport showing Shanann Watts arrived back from Arizona? The entire airport is on tape for Homeland Security. So where's the proof? Yeah, it's true. So is there a way you can request a proof, or anybody else? Where's also the proof that Daddy Rusek came to Colorado from Carolinas to babysit the house when they went to San Diego? We don't see that either, but it's possible, right? It's like, where are you gonna draw the line here
Exactly.
with proof? The police asked Nat if they could see the footage. Yeah, they did, and they might have it, but we don't know.
It makes me
These
wonder if they. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say It makes me wonder if they released absolutely everything.
They didn't.
No, I'm just saying, if they did, would we still be discussing this case today? And I think that the reason people are still discussing it is because there are so many loopholes and so many gaps in between each bit they give us. So we're left to fill in the narrative, and then, we can get in shit with, part members of families saying, oh, no, stop talking about the case. Well,
no, I think it's insulting. You know why it's insulting? Because when someone goes missing and they need help, you know what they do? They broadcast it everywhere. They publicize the you know what out of it. So and so is missing, and this child, and this child, and they're 4 foot this, and they're this many pounds. They give us so many details. They emotionally invest us in these people that need our help. And they broadcast it all over the world. And it's not fair that after investigators find the answers, we're left in the dark. Because you know who is hanging now without answers, even though you made us care. You just fucked us.
yeah.
You said care about these people. These people are missing, and they broadcast it every hour. And then YouTubers put it on the internet every hour, and then they find the bodies, and then they find the cause of death, or the investigation is closed, and you know what? They just blue-balled us. And we're like, what the freak happened then? Oh, well, no, sorry, you can't know. Well, F you then. It kind of makes me angry. It's like, you know what? I don't want to care about this then anymore.
Exactly.
Because I care about it until you said, don't worry anymore. When Kylie Roddy's mom said, leave us alone, mind your own business, we got this. You know what? F you, dude. Because everybody was here caring. And now you're telling us to leave it alone? You know what? I don't
Exactly.
want. You guys suck. If you guys are gonna make us care about it at the beginning, at least give us something to the end so we can freaking sleep at night. Because sometimes we can't. There are people that actually care, and we're emotionally
Exactly.
invested in this.
Exactly right. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I've never heard you speak this passionately. I have,
Because
but
it sucks.
it does.
This is not for content. This is not for likes and views. It's like, bro, you messed up. If you want to be if you want us to help you find this person, then give us something. At least say there was foul play. But we're not going to release the names of it. Fine, we can figure that out by ourselves. But at least help us so the next time you tell us there's something missing, someone missing, we'll care about it again. Otherwise, we just lose faith in the system and you, and then it turns into this
Exactly
just
right.
stupid gossip ring.
Exactly right. Couldn't have said it better myself, though. I agree completely. Are you okay?
No,
Sorry, hon.
no, I'm not okay. Because they
I know that's
all
what
this
you say.
because no, I'm not okay because freaking Denver News releases this interview. They release this other interview. They release 3 interviews with NK. Can you just at least tell us what the freak happened?
Exactly.
Or if you're not going to be releasing anything, then don't tell us anything. I'd rather be just what is it? Just blind to it all. You all
Yeah,
figured it out. You all figure it out. Do your own thing. Let me live my life.
exactly right. Agreed.
But you made me care about these 2 little girls.
Yeah.
I want to curse so badly.
Well, then do it. Nothing's stopping
No,
you, hon.
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, how does this sound? When you're on my panel next, swear your ass off. Sorry, backside off.
No, because it's just not fair.
It's BS. I'll try and not swear on your channel.
Just keep it to yourselves then. Keep it to yourselves, because then when you find out what happened, and it's not just with these 2 cases that I talk about. I don't know how these other channels do it. Every day they're like putting up new flyers. Oh, new missing person is missing. New missing person. I don't know how you can emotionally handle that. I can't. I can
No.
barely handle Chris Watts and Kylie Rodney.
Yeah. Ditto.
Because there's so much in all these interviews. And I just get a little upset. Okay? I get a little
No,
upset.
I don't blame you, doll. You're entitled to get upset. Everyone that gets invested in these cases and then they're just basically put in front of a roadblock when, help us, like you said, help us find these people. And then when they find them, they shut the door and put down a deadbolt and the big
And
metal door.
I have so little time. I even told Daniel, like, I just want to tell my friends this. I don't have time to like clip a video and then freaking put some effects to it and then make a cool like a clickbait photo and I just want to tell you guys and talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what this is about, you all. We know what happened. RSCW murdered his whole family. Don't get upset. Okay, thank you, Laurie. Sarah says, my hobby is tracking fraud on and within the taxpayer fund justice system and election tampering and murder. I think all 3 are present in this case. I agree.
That's her hobby.
No, that's her. Oh, shit, that's her hobby. Well, I've always told you, Daniel, we have like the smartest people. We could have 15 people watching, but all 15 people, they're literally, I can't think now. They're like critical thinkers. No one can listen to me speak this long without being cerebral thinkers. Because they're not here for entertainment. They're not watching shiny lights and effects and voiceovers. Anyway, I have to use the restroom, so I'm gonna leave you with the rest of this interview. Give me like a minute to use
Okay,
the
guys, no
restroom.
worries.
Keep playing.
Okay.
She would go. She said she would go on like websites and look at like, will a relationship work with somebody? Like, will a mistress work? Will a mistress turn into a relationship?
That's what Nikki was looking at?
Yeah.
She would tell you that, or you
She
heard
told
that?
me that.
Okay.
Yeah, she said that she would go on websites and look at stuff like that. I was like, why do you even look at stuff like that? She's like, I just want to see what other people have experienced.
But like, so that confuses me though, because I thought earlier you were saying she thought you were heading toward a divorce. So why was she looking at herself as a mistress?
This was later on.
Oh,
Like, you know, in August, like the first week of August, when I told her, like, you know, I hadn't had that talk with her about separation. That's when, like, she started looking at, like, apartments and stuff. But, like, during our July relationship type thing there.
Oh, I see.
That's when she was looking up, like, you know, it will actually work. And she told her friend Brittany about it, I guess. And Brittany told her not to do it, but she said she already made her decision.
Okay. And so, are those people absolutely wrong about Nikki? She wasn't asking you to get rid of your family. No. Are you sure? Okay. And no part of any of this was because she put it in your head or asked you to, or
no, she never. I mean, this whole relationship contributed to it.
Sure.
But she didn't want me to.
I mean, was it ever like, I wish you didn't have kids, I want to have, you know, kids of my own with you? Like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, you know, at one point she said, I'd like to give you a son.
did she know that Shanann was pregnant with a boy?
No.
Did she know Shanann was pregnant?
No.
And why is that? You just didn't tell her?
I didn't know. Like, because we had met.
But Shanann put that on Facebook.
That's
Like, how did she not see
I
that?
don't know. Maybe she did, and she just was waiting for me to tell her, or she put it out of her head.
can I ask you a question? A lot of people think you named Nico after Nikki. So what was that?
Nico was actually a name that Shanann liked.
Okay. Shanann thought of that one?
Yeah, I wanted to spell it like N-E-K-O. I thought it was like Nico that way. But she said N-I-C-O. And I thought it was like Nico or something.
Okay.
I guess Nico is more of like an Italian name.
Yeah.
So, and like she did leave for, you know, my middle name and my dad's and all that. But like Nico is like, that's a name that she always liked. Okay.
Did she name all the kids? Did she name Bella and Celeste?
Yeah, Bella, because Italian means beautiful. Marie, mom's middle name. Celeste is her grandmother's name. Catherine's Shanann's middle name.
Did you have any input in their names?
I like them. I was like, if we had a third child, you know, I was gonna, maybe we could have like Lee in the middle name, but I knew like the girls' names. I love those names, so I was like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like.
All right, I'm here.
You have little nicknames for
Welcome back.
Belle and Bella.
Sorry to leave you guys. Sarah says my hobby is tracking fraud. Damn, Sarah. Damn. Tracking strange and unusual cases is better than daytime soaps. I've been watching the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, and and then I went into YouTube and I was watching Jeffrey Dahmer, like his actual interviews, and I'm like, wow, Chris and Jeffrey Dahmer are like very similar in the way they speak in their interviews. They sound like normal people that know exactly what happened. It's weird.
Very weird how they can put on that mask when they need to.
Like, I don't know why this case upsets me more than even the Casey Anthony case. It's obvious that it was mom.
Yeah.
And then the Jodi Arias and all those big cases, even the what is it? The Colorado one, the rich one, the little girl pageant.
Oh, John Bonet.
Yeah, it was obviously the parents.
Yeah.
But
I think it upsets you more because there's so many, like I said, so many holes in this case that we don't have the answers to. Whereas with the other ones, we got more or less closure on them. We didn't get closure on the John Bonet one. That's a given. We didn't get any kind of closure on that one. But
I feel like we did, because I mean, look at the Ramsey brother.
A book.
Look at his mental state.
Yeah, I think they screwed up those kids.
Yeah,
Him especially.
there was something going on.
Oh
at
yeah,
home.
definitely.
But anyway, like I asked earlier, is there anything you guys want to hear in this interview? Someone told me that I was really good at finding things, and I guess I am at this point, but
I personally can't think of anything, but I do have to step down because I've got to try and figure out what I'm going to do for my dinner while it's early because I'm going to have an early night tonight.
yes,
But I just
ma'am.
wanted to pop up and say you're doing an amazing job, hon.
Well, I don't know what job I'm doing, but I'm
Looking for things
trolling.
and letting people have an opinion.
I appreciate you
You're
being
doing great.
here.
And I appreciate you letting me here.
Always.
All right. Just know I'm always here for if you need me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
You have a
All
good
right.
day.
You too, doll. Bye, everyone. Bye.
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 You think so, Lori? I learned about it if it wasn't for YouTube, you're right. But then again, Netflix came out with a whole movie about it, so Netflix came out and then Lifetime, so no. I'm going to disagree with you respectfully. Lori, what do you think? And I appreciate you sitting here listening. But if there's anything you want me to look up in this Wisconsin interview, I will. This is where he talks about a boy.
Kids, but she said that, at one point.
This is where
Kids, I want to have,
where he says that Nicole Kissinger said, "I'll give you a son."
kids of my own with you. Like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I could give you a son.
So Nicole Kissinger said she didn't know if she wanted to have kids at some point, but then she said, "I want to give you a son." But in her emails, didn't she say that I want to build a beautiful life like what you have done with your girls and your wife?
kids, I want to have, kids of my own with you. Like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I could give you a son.
did she know that Shanann was pregnant with a boy?
No.
Did she know Shanann was pregnant?
No.
And why is that? You just didn't tell her?
I didn't know. Because we had met.
But Shanann put that on Facebook.
That's
How did she not see that?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't. She just was waiting for me to tell her, or she put it out of her head.
Can I ask you a question? A lot of people think you named Nico after Nikki.
Right here.
Kids, I want to have,
Right here, Jody. I think there's a bit in the interview where he says Nikki already knew. Yeah.
kids of my own with you. Like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I could give you a son.
what did she?
Maybe thought maybe I didn't go here. I don't know.
Okay. And I don't want to harp on it too much, but I'm just trying to think, if my wife's 4 months pregnant and it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I want to talk and I want to get on top of her, that's just not going to fly. So that's why I'm confused. So, is that really what happened?
I watched that video of you finding out that Shanann was pregnant.
I tried. And then finally, but with Nico, it was, once or twice. And then 2 weeks later, she's pregnant.
Is that what happened?
Yes. I just it was more of surprise, scared. I'm like, wait, what? We just talked about this. People have brought up the fact oh, she was probably pregnant before, you guys even talked about it. I'm just it's not, no.
Oh, he just said she was pregnant before you guys even talked about it.
People have brought up the fact oh, she was probably pregnant before, you guys even talked about it. I'm just it's not, no.
Did you guys hear what he just said? People have brought up that she's been pregnant before. Is he talking about NK? Who is he talking about that brought it up?
Yeah, it was insane. Like, we just talked about this. Like, people have brought up the fact, like, oh, she was probably pregnant before, like, you guys even talked about it. I'm just like, it's not, no. But, like, yeah, it was insanely fast. I give it that. Like, that's the only reason I ever gave that notion, like, even the moment of thought, because it was, like, faster than any other time that she'd gotten pregnant.
You just didn't seem happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I haven't, like, I don't remember the video much. I know she was wearing, like, a oops, we did it again shirt, I think. And I was walking out with my cooler or something.
And was there any sex?
No.
Okay.
Maybe I'm basically from the position that we're in. Maybe she thought maybe I'd try to go again. I don't know.
Okay. And I don't harp on it too much, but I'm just trying to think, if my wife's 4 months pregnant and it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I want to talk and I want to get
back August 7th. Went to work. I think it was probably August 8th. That's when Nikki told me she told her friends about me.
He just said it was August 8th. I'm not ignoring y'all's chat, but listen to what he just said.
How about your Facebook account? You deleted that at some point. When did you do that? Why?
I think it was got back August 7th. Went to work. I think it was probably August 8th. That's when Nikki told me she told her friends about me.
August 8th is when Nikki told her friends about him.
And I just figured, they probably looked me up on Facebook and see that she was pregnant. If Nikki already knew probably already, but the reason I did that.
Nikki already knew. She found out already. You're right. Jody, you're right. That's where he says it, Jody.
Back August 7th. Went to work. I think it was probably August 8th. That's when Nikki told me she told her friends about me. And I just figured, they probably looked me up on Facebook and see that she was pregnant. If Nikki already knew probably already, but the reason I did that.
Now, what happened August the 8th? What happened the August the 8th? What happened August the 8th? Watts made an unspecified modification to Shanann's contact information in his work phone. And then 4 hours later, on August the 8th, Kessinger searched Google on topics related to marrying your mistress. And then later on, 2 hours later, Shanann told Utah, NA, and Cassie, he said we are not compatible anymore. He refused to hug me. He said he thought another baby would fix his feelings. Said he refuses couples counseling. Shanann elaborated. He said he had a lot of time to perfect his feelings. He said he's going to work it out. But she doesn't know how when he won't agree to counseling. Josh begs Watts, bro, I'm waiting patiently. Don't leave me hanging. Rosenberg is who Josh is. Watts replied, LOL, envelope is sealed until next weekend. That same day, August 8th, Shanann told NA and Cassie, I will fight for full custody. Shanann said Watts told her he does not want to divorce. Shanann told the women, I can't afford 3 kids. August the 8th, Shanann searched Google on topics like emotion-focused couples therapy. You see how much happened on August the 8th? Nikki already knew. Sarah says he can divorce right away. Colorado won't allow a divorce when his wife is pregnant. Only after she gives birth could the divorce process begin. That's why he says not right away. Like it. She didn't think it was safe. Nikki Kissinger said it's not safe for us to see each other. What was she trying to do, y'all? She set up eHarmony dates when she asked him to come over. She was trying to make him feel like the second fiddle, like she felt him, like how she felt with him. She's vindictive. She told him, I have dates. Oh, I just realized I wasn't playing a freaking video.
I can see that because.
Hold on, I have to share it because I wasn't sharing it. Yeah, she says it wasn't safe for us to see each other.
Safe, or it was good for us to see each other anymore that day, like the rest of that day. It's because of all that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And she asked me to come over like later on after she got back.
All that, right? So what did she say to you, Nikki?
She was in the shower. She said, okay. And then that's like, when I talked about I calm her down, she's on the phone.
And was she like, we're breaking up, like we're not gonna, I can't do
No,
this?
she said like she didn't want to, like she didn't think it was safe or it was good for us to see each other anymore that day, like the rest of that day. It's because of all that. And
Why does she say safe? It's not safe for us to see each other.
I'm like, okay, that's fine. And she asked me to come over like later on after she got back from her baseball game.
And so you did that? So what was the second one like?
It was basically about the same thing. She was, I didn't really know it at one point, but I guess she had set up a couple dates with like some eHarmony app or something. They never showed up, and she'd already made plans with me, and
Wait, what do you mean? She set up dates when she had plans with you?
Yeah.
Why would she do that?
I guess she kind of figured out they weren't going to show up. She went, I guess.
Yes, she set up these dates to be vindictive because she felt hurt that Chris Watts was making his wife number one. So she was shooting back at him and letting him know why I have these eHarmony dates. You know, because think about it.
I guess when she went to the baseball game, they never showed up, and there was another one and never showed up either.
So she's actively dating other people
I
while you
I
guys are
didn't know it
together?
until like a couple weeks later.
How'd you find out? What'd she say?
She it was one conversation
So she told him a couple weeks later that she was doing this, not even when she was doing it.
where I actually kind of fell asleep on the couch, and then like she had told me like not sure why she told me about it, but it was very random, and she could tell that it kind of like took me back a little bit because I figured she would have told me that if she was actively still like looking around. I mean, she didn't have to tell me, but I figured she.
Do you think she told you though so that it would hurry you up and
make a decision?
you're making?
You see, they even say it. Do you think she told you that so it could make you hurry and make a decision?
A decision?
It might have been, but she never had anybody that actually tried to like fix things as far as like, hey, like I like where we're at as far as like the relationship goes, and actually like I did stuff for her around the house, around her little apartment. Like, nobody's ever done that, and she just thought it was different.
What about our male friend? Where does he stand with her? What's his name?
Jim.
Thank you.
He worked in the oil field, North Dakota, I believe.
This is about Jim.
I guess he's been a friend of hers for a long time, and it's kind of like a shoulder.
They're asking about Jim.
There's always somebody that's always been around for her. And I guess he's had a couple girlfriends.
Remember, Nicole Kissinger says that Chris didn't know about Jim, and Jim didn't know about Chris. What do you guys think, though? Looking at something, but it was right here. There we go. Yeah, he had a couple girlfriends, right, Jody? The IRS would know, Sarah. Do you have any of that info? This is where she talks about Jim. It's gonna have an ad, so I'm gonna stop it. He's had a couple girlfriends, right?
Does not know about this. He was not, like, he doesn't know.
He was not what?
A text to me. And yes, he does know that I will be home at that point. Or getting home.
Did you give?
And so this part of the Jim whole thing, I know I'm just jumping around, y'all. Sorry. But I need to end this soon.
No, I would really not like to involve him in this. He does not know about this. He was not what? Like, he doesn't know any of this is occurring.
Okay.
Like, I was
So
literally
he knows certainly through the media that something's occurred.
Yeah, he's
with Chris.
Out of town. He's probably has
Okay.
no idea. He doesn't know
Okay.
who Chris is. Like, he's not. I do not know.
So he's just a friend of yours.
Yes. He does
that
not need to
was
be
coming
dragged
to your
into this.
apartment and doesn't know anything about Chris? Does he know anything about Chris?
No, nothing. Absolutely
And we've
not.
known Jim for
Yeah.
years and years.
You're not dating him.
So Jim is a super close friend to the family. Dad knows him years and years. Jim has a key to the apartment. But her dog likes him. But he doesn't know anything about what Nicole Kissinger's love life. I'm just saying, is it possible that she could be pregnant with Jim's kid? Maybe, or something. I mean, come on. Come on.
No, he's like one of my very good friends. Like my dad knows him. He's a great guy. He works out of state a lot, so when he's in town, we hang out. But when he's in town and he's off of work, to save time, so I give him the key to my house. One, because I trust him. He's one of my best friends, and two, because sometimes he will just meet me there. Because I'll be like, hey, I'm getting off of work. And then if I get stuck in traffic or something, he ends up like sitting outside of my apartment waiting for me to get off of work. So I'm like, here's a key. And like my dog loves him and stuff. So no, he's not.
So he's just a family friend.
Yes, I don't even
The only reason
So someone that is a family friend, super close to you, your dog likes him, your dad knows him, he has a key to your apartment, also he doesn't know about Chris Watts. And Chris Watts doesn't know about him.
I ask, and I'm not really concerned about your location. I think we already have your cell phone records. At some point, did Mark ask
too much? Like I said, didn't put too much thought into it. It happens all the time. Waited till about 3:45, then sent that text to me. And yes, he does know that I will be.
You guys know how I feel about this part of the interview. We talked about it on Kelly's channel.
Home at that point, or getting home.
Did you give Mark Jim's information?
No, I would really not like to involve him in this.
Okay.
He does not know about this. He was not he doesn't know any of this is occurring.
Okay.
I was
So
literally
he knows certainly through the media that something's occurred.
Yeah, he's
with Chris.
Out of town. He's probably has
Okay.
no idea. He doesn't know
Okay.
who Chris is. He's not. I do not know.
So he's just a friend of yours.
Yes.
He
does
that
not
was
need to be
coming to
dragged
your
into this.
apartment and doesn't know anything about.
And I'm like, why would this girl call the cops? And I honestly do not remember the order of operations on all of this, but I'm pretty sure the majority of our conversation that night until my friend Jim left the house, which was probably pretty late, I don't even know what time, 9 or 10, was all via text. So you should have this via text.
Okay.
I don't think we started talking about operations on all of this, but I'm pretty sure the majority of our conversation that night until my friend Jim left the house, which was probably pretty late. I don't even know what time, 9 or 10.
So Jim left Nicole Kissinger's apartment at 9 p.m. that night. Is that what she just said? On the 13th? Is that what she said? He left pretty late on Monday night. On the 13th. Or Monday night. Well, yeah, that was the 13th. Right? Is that what she just said? I'm looking. At 9. What would 9 be in military hours?
Just 9?
Yeah, 9 p.m.
No, 9 p.m. would
Yeah.
be 2100 hours.
Okay, hold on.
operations on all of this, but I'm pretty sure the majority of our conversation that night until my friend Jim left the house, which was probably pretty late, I don't even know what time, like 9 or 10, was all via text. So you should have this via text. Like,
Okay.
I don't think.
So she says that on Monday night, Jim left her apartment at like 9 or 10 p.m. So it's like what? Not it's a what? How many hundred hours?
2100.
No, it's like 20, 19.
21 is 9, 22 is 10, 23 is 11, 24.
So what is it? 20 what?
Not 24. It only goes up to 23.
Right. So what is 9 p.m. in military hour?
2100.
2100. So at 21, 12 hours, a line at Frederick Police Department called Waltz. A line at the Frederick Police Department called Waltz and held a 6-minute conversation. And then at 2300 hours, Kissinger called Watts and held a 51 conversation. So after Jim left is when and then at 2 minutes after midnight on the 14th, Kissinger searched Google for Shanann Watts. So at Monday night going into Tuesday morning, 2 minutes after midnight, Kissinger is searching Google for Shanann Watts. Yes, 2100. Sorry, Hochi. Here, let me show you. No, you guys can see what I'm showing you. So Jim left Monday night, and then all this stuff is happening. What do you guys think?
And
Well, wrong one. Tell me that I need to like get off the internet.
I think we started talking again on the phone until like after my company left.
We started talking on the phone after my company left.
And he was like, I don't know. He just
Doesn't that remind you of Kylie Rodney, which is like, and
started like giving me details about stuff, and I don't remember what order, but he was saying like Nikki was really upset and that the cops were there and that they were like searching the house, and I was just like, what? You know, like what? Why? And he was telling me that they had like had a disagreement or something like that, and then he told me like she was gonna go to a friend's house, and I was like, okay, well, maybe she left.
By the way, guys, on Tuesday morning, guess what Chris Watts was doing? At 9 in the morning on August the 14th, the Tuesday, after the Monday that his family went missing, at 9 in the morning, Watts transferred one last image into his secret calculator application, a semi-nude selfie of Kissinger. And then 4 hours later, Kissinger spent nearly 4 hours searching Google and the internet for Watts, news outlets, and news accounts of Shanann's disappearance, all deleted. At 9 in the morning, Watts is transferring one last image into his secret calculator application, a semi-nude selfie. What? Can you guys hear me? The chat has turned quiet.
You know, maybe and he was telling me that um they had like had a disagreement or something like that, and then um he told me like she was gonna go to a friend's house, and I was like, okay, well, maybe she left, you know, maybe she just like went to her friends. And then I don't remember, but I think he was the one that told me that her cell phone and her purse were still there.
Who else would have told you that? Who else would have told you that her purse and her cell phone were there? What do you mean you think it was him? Who else would have told you?
I think he, you know, maybe she just like went to her friends. And then I don't remember, but I think he was the one that told me that her cell phone and her purse were still there. I think he told me that.
He told you her cell phone and purse were still there?
I think he did. I don't remember.
What's the significance of that in your mind at that time?
At that point, I thought this woman was really trying to get out of this house.
Okay.
That's what I thought, because he said that they'd had a disagreement, and I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I leave my cell phone at
When
home.
he said disagreement, what did he tell you what it was about, or?
Not at that point. Not at that point. So, again, like you guys are gonna have to check these texts because it's all like my brain.
That's okay.
Mashed potato right now. But I remember him saying that, and I'm just thinking, like, well, maybe she was in a rush, you know, like maybe she was just like, I'm going to my friends. I'm leaving my cell phone here because I don't want you calling me. I don't want anyone else calling me. I mean, there are days where, like, when I'm outside of work, I will just shut my phone off. I just do it, and it's like my way of getting peace. So to me, I mean, like, it was weird that it wasn't even that weird to me that she left her phone just because I leave my phone, but it was weird to me that she left her purse. But knowing the fact that that girl was like always on her phone, then yeah, I guess it is kind of.
It wasn't weird to me that she left her phone. But yeah, it was weird to me. You hear what she's saying?
I mean, like, it was weird that it wasn't even that weird to me that she left her phone just because I leave my phone, but it was weird to me that she left her purse. But knowing the fact that that girl was like always on her phone, then yeah, I guess it is kind of
Like she lived on her phone, I think, pretty
yeah.
much is my understanding of her and a phone. So I don't know if you knew that
I did.
until prior to the media stuff.
Why is it that on Tuesday, the day after the family is missing, Chris Watts at 9 in the morning is transferring his last half nude image of the mistress? Can you guys answer that for me? And I'm going to end this right pretty soon here because I think better when someone's talking to me about it, and right now I just feel like a weirdo. August the 14th, 2 minutes after midnight, Kissinger searched Google for Shanann Watts. And then that's when, and shortly after that, Watts played phone tag. 2:07, Watts made an unanswered call to Kissinger. 4 in the morning, Sandy called Watts. Sandy called again. Watts perpetuated his fallacy, telling Sam, I'm hoping she's with someone. And at 9 in the morning, Watts transferred one last image into his secret calculator app, a semi-nude. What do you guys think about that?
Hey,
It's just weird.
no problem. I was doing this YouTube live thing.
So think about it.
So she's busy. Oh, yeah.
That's true, Sarah.
Oh shit. What's your R? Yeah. If she's doing that thing, then what are you all up to? Let's go to sleep, girl. What the hell?
Oh, she's gonna go to her friend Jim's house? Is that what she just said?
Oh, she's talking to the YouTube people.
He said, you know, kind of quietly, I cheated on her, I cheated on Shan or something. Your dad didn't know until that time?
No, when I was in North Carolina on August 6th, when I spent most of the day with my parents and my sister and everybody.
I don't know. Sorry, I thought I was playing a lot of it. How do I private message y'all? I can give you an email. But what do you guys think about that? That Chris Watts was transferring semi-nude images of Nicole Kissinger on Tuesday. I don't even. I'm kind of literally all over the place. So I'm probably gonna end this right now because I feel like I lost my focus. But anyway, something to think about. Let me know what y'all think. Cherokee, Nancy, Crazy Purple, Sarah. All my friends that are Nutter, Jody, Laurie, thank you for being here. Nancy, Jody, I think I said Jody, Ho Chi, and John. I know he was here for a little bit, and all my friends. And sometimes it's just good to go back and listen to these things. And I'm going to do that more because there's a lot that needs to be dissected. And I think I went off in a rant here, and I'm sorry I got a little upset, but it is what it is. But anyway, you all have a good night, and thank you all for listening.